Welcome back, my friend. This is Mr. Rana in the world of toys. And today I have a special guest for you. From Diamond Select Toys, the one and the only, Zack Oat. Welcome, Zack.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Thank you to be a part of this stream. And I want to start immediately with this question: how start your career? What was the first step in your career to be in the toy business in general?
Being a fan of toys and studying a lot of writing, I got a job at ToyFare magazine, which was around for a good long while. But I came on board there around issue 27, 29. I was a copy editor, just reading everything, making sure it was okay. And then I was there for about 8 or 9 years. Eventually, I was editor of the magazine, and I took a couple years off from the industry for a little while. But then I heard there was an opening at Diamond Select Toys, and I knew them a little bit from when I'd worked at ToyFare, and they needed a marketing supervisor, someone to take care of all the interviews and writing up all the text, social media, message boards, stuff like that, and I guess they thought I was a pretty good fit. So here I am. I've been there for almost 10 years.
Cool. I saw also on via internet that you work also about the robot kitchen, adult swim stop motion, something like that. Is correct?
I did some. I was the toy wrangler. I was the one in charge of getting all the toys for what came before Robot Chicken. It was a show called Sweet J Presents, and it was done for a Sony animation software website. And Seth Green was heading it up, and he had a whole bunch of people from ToyFare helping him write, and I was there to help get all the figures that we needed. So like all the Migos that we needed. This is before they realized that Migos were very hard to pose, which I could have told them, but they did a lot. I sourced like Migo action figures and like the classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer action figures for different sketches. And a lot of those sketches, most of those sketches ended up in early episodes of Robot Chicken. I don't know if they used the exact same footage or the exact same figures, but they may have re-recorded some of them. But I'm pretty sure that a lot of the toys that I sourced ended up in those first early episodes.
Cool. I like so much the stop motion concept in general. Also in this channel, I made some series of stop motion. For example, I created a federation of wrestling with my WWF Hasbro figures. And along with my friends, I created some character with a custom figure. And I start also to write in the storyline and something like that, a weekly episode. And also I started a project with the Master of the Universe of Motion and with the Foot Fighters also, because I like this concept to create something, the story, a show with the action figures is cool to me. Also because in real life I'm also a writer, I like to create story in general. Maybe if you want, later in this video, I show you something about that too, because you are who was inside that. I'm curious to understand what do you think about that, because it's just a little project, but I'm interested to understand what your opinion of that. However, and speaking of Diamond Select Toys, I created a slide because you start a new pre-order. I saw in the blog. I saw in the blog of your website, Diamond Select Toys, a new pre-order start now. Last week, I believe.
Yes, the new website.
I have also a slide. Maybe I shared the slide during our conversation, and you can say something about this figure if you want.
Sure.
Because I have a slide for your new. I created this slide for your new pre-order, and we can talk something about this figure.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, that's our new Marvel animated style statue based on the artwork of Scotty Young, and that was Apocalypse. And these are our new GI Joe mini mates. This is the first time we've done G.I. Joe as a mini-mates. These are the 2-inch minifigures, fully posable. They're going to come in a box set on a free comic book day, which is in August. And those are the first 4 characters in that box set, and there will be more after that. Aragorn and the Moria Orc are our next 2 figures for our Lord of the Rings line, and we're gonna those are the last ones you need to build Sauron. The Crow Gallery, that's our second Crow Gallery. The Iron Giant is our this is our second Iron Giant. This is the one in the battle mode. This is one of our Marvel Galleries dioramas, the Vision. He has like a battle base, and it combines with other battle bases in that series. The Thing is a new Premier Collection statue, hand sculpted by Claiborne Moore. The Vision, the Scarlet Witch action figure, that's based on the TV show. That's for Marvel Select line. This is our animated style Darth Maul bust for our animated style bust line for Star Wars. And the Emperor is part of our more realistic 1/6 scale line. Darth Maul is more of a 1/7 scale. And Boba Fett is our new milestone statue for Star Wars. He's about 12 inches tall. And that's a 1/6 scale statue.
You have many different licenses. It's so cool. I'm a big fan, especially for the Lord of the Rings stuff that you created. And speaking of the pre-order, where the fan can go to pre-order these figures?
We're about to start pre-orders on our website, diamondselecttoys.com. We had offered pre-orders before, but we recently relaunched the website, so we're going to offer pre-orders starting, I think, end of this week. But if you can't wait that long, then you can pre-order from your local comic shop. You can find a store at comicshoplocator.com, and there is an international section, so you can select your home country and the nearest city, and it'll tell you what stores are in that area. And or you can order from other online retailers. But we will have pre-orders starting end of this week, early next.
Cool. Speaking of the mini-mates, because I like this concept, they are so cool. This type of figure. There are also in project for other franchise this type of figure.
Yes, the Marvel Mini-Mates line, all based on Marvel comics and movies, has been going since 2003. So we're coming up on our 20th anniversary for them. But Mini-Mates have been around themselves since 2002, and they actually made Lord of the Rings Mini-Mates a long time ago when Art Asylum was working with a different company. But we took over the Mini-Mates license, I believe, in 2007 or 2009. And the Marvel line has been ours since the beginning. And Series 80 will be coming out this spring of Marvel Mini-Mates. That's all comic. That's all movie and comic based. And that doesn't count other series we've done for retailers like Toys R Us or Walgreens. This is just series going to comic shops and specialty stores. And that doesn't even count box sets that we've done. We've done a lot of special box sets over the years. So 80 series of Marvel Mini-Mates will happen this spring. And then Series 81 is going up for pre-order, I think, next month.
Wow. Very cool. And I like also another lines that you have your project. Talking about of Nightmare Before Christmas. Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas. Will be something more in the future. What's next for Nightmare Before Christmas in the future?
We just solicited Series 10, which has the Corpse Mom and Corpse Dad, Mr. Hyde, and Mrs. Claus. We also solicited the Creature Under the Stairs in a special 2-pack with Cyclops. And those will come out this summer, I believe. And then after that, we'll have to see. I think we have talked about doing more in that line. We also have some of our earlier figures we've recently reissued as part of our Best of Nightmare Before Christmas line. So you can still get earlier figures like Jack, Sally, Lock, Shock, and Barrel, the Mayor, Dr. Finkelstein, and I think Pumpkin King. Those have all been reissued. So those are all available now as well. Wow,
very good. And speaking of what is the process to create a figure and to have the license? What is the because the fan have the figure, but like every type of art, because they consider create a figure a type of art because it's a mashup of different art. There is the art of the people they create the character on a movie or cartoon, but also the designer they created the possibility to have the figure in hands. And the question is, what is the process? The process from the beginning to when you choose to try and get a license to the final figure. What is this process?
Well, it definitely starts with the license. Our president, Chuck Tercera, he's always looking to see what makes sense for the company, and looking at what's upcoming in the entertainment world that makes sense to time with. For instance, Lord of the Rings. We know there's going to be a new Lord of the Rings TV series, so we looked at the Lord of the Rings movie license to see if it was available, and it was available. And so we went to a character that we decided what the line plan was going to be. We went to a designer who did two-dimensional art based on the movie series, two-dimensional art of what each figure would look like and what the accessories would be. And then we hand that off to, once we get that approved with the licensor, Warner Brothers, then we would send that to a sculptor to create in 3D. I think in this case, it's Gentle Giant Studios who did the 3D sculpting. And it's all those figures are all, most of our action figures are digitally sculpted. Very few are hand sculpted anymore. We have a couple of sculptors, Gene St. Jean and Claiborne Moore, who still do hand sculpting. Claiborne Moore, you saw he did that Thing statue. He does a lot of our Marvel statues. And Gene St. Jean does a lot of our Marvel galleries, the dioramas, including that Vision that we showed. And but he occasionally does action figures for us as well. So once it's digitally sculpted, then we have to get that sculpt approved. We have to figure out how much it's going to cost to make it. So we look and say, can we include all the accessories that we want to? Do we need to eliminate some accessories? What articulation is it going to have? Usually that's part of the design as well. And then once we've got the sculpt approved, then we can output it and from a 3D printer and get it painted, which is the next stage of approval. We have to send the painted figure off to be approved, and usually that's where there's a bit of a back and forth. We have to tweak different things. We have to make sure the sculpting stage is a lot of back and forth as well, making sure the face is correct. If it's a movie likeness, we have to make it look exactly like the actor. And then the paint, usually there's a lot of back and forth there. And then we send the paint master to the factory, and they can give us another quote on how much it's going to cost to do all the different paint applications we want to do. And then eventually they have to create, for the plastic figures, they need to create the steel tools. The metal molds that they use to cast those figures under high pressure. It's a different procedure for statues, but for anything cast in plastic PVC, it's got to be a hard metal mold. So that is the next step, figuring out how much it's going to cost to make that mold, all the accessories, all the paint applications for the figure, and then eventually, once we know how much it is, we know how much we can price it at, and then we put it into the catalog, the previews catalog, which we put out every month. Diamond Comics puts out every month, and we have a big section in it. And the pre-order from that time is generally about 5 to 6 months, sometimes a little bit more. But once we put the pre-order in, then we have to gather the pre-orders, and then we can go to figure out how many we're going to make. And we can go to manufacturing. We have to design the packaging. And then eventually, 5 or 6 months later, we get the shipment from China. It comes over on a boat, and then we have to transport it to our warehouse in Mississippi. So that takes a couple of weeks just to get from the boat to the warehouse. And
wow,
not everybody. It's a long procedure. It's generally, I think the turnaround time is about a year. Like if you wanted to start working on something, it would take about a year. To get something into collectors' hands. That's if everything goes according to plan with approvals and things like that. Mini-mates we can do a lot faster. Mini-mates we could probably turn around in about 6 months.
Okay, and when you produce a new figure, you have also your personal copy of these figures that you created with your company.
I usually try to get in the action figures so that I can take pictures of them and show them off to people what they can do. I have some pieces. I definitely when we used to do shows, we'd go to the conventions and we'd set up everything in the display cases. And at the end of the show, we'd be like, "What do we need to take back to the office?" And then it'd be, "What can Zack have?" And it'd be whatever I could get my hands on, I would take. So I've got a lot of stuff set up in my office, and but I've also got a couple bins of action figures that are just if in case I ever want to take pictures of our Gotham action figures from the Gotham TV show or Pulp Fiction or Star Trek. I've got bins of action figures.
Cool. And what is your feelings when you see the first time the final figure of that you created after this process that you told before? The feelings when you receive the first copy, the final copy of your figure that you created. Your feelings when you see finally, this is it. It's ready.
I'm always super excited to get any one of our new products in my hands. I'm always looking to see, there's some that I follow more closely than others to see when they're going to be coming out and when I can actually get my hands on one of them. Because I don't really have too much to do with, I'm more in charge of, making sure everybody knows about them, finding out ways to get them into the hands of people who can show them off to other people, letting people know on the message boards what's going on. So in terms of creation, sometimes they'll take my ideas for like a convention exclusive, for instance, but normally I don't really have a lot of input into the actual creation of the products. But I'm still very excited to get a hold of them when they come out, especially if it's one that I submitted an idea for. I just got in the new Crow action figure, the Walgreens exclusive. It's only available at the Walgreens in America, and it's him without the coat, and he's got the I don't know what you call it, the metal sword that he fights in the final scene of the movie, and it's just a great figure. I had a lot of fun playing with it and taking pictures and posting them on my Instagram, and it was really fun to finally get that piece after seeing other people's pictures of it for so long.
Cool. And I have a consideration I want to share with you, and also I want to know what do you think about that. Today we live a strange era, weird era around the world, no? Because we know what happened now with social distance, mask, and stuff like that. But I think because of that, especially in this moment, creating toys, collecting toys, and also the role of an artist when you create a book or a song is important because give to the people an escape to stay happy also in this weird time of our life. What do you think about that?
I think you're right. I think the fact that people are still buying our products shows that they're still, and that the people are still seeking out all the products in the stores. It definitely is a reassuring. I think even before this, it was a reassuring thing for people. It was something that made them think about a time when things were simpler and they could live in their world with all their favorite characters. A world that they understood. As opposed to the rest of the world, which is confusing. But especially now with the way things are, I think it's become more important than ever, and a lot of people are definitely looking to escape into the world of toy collecting. It's worlds they love, worlds that they know what's going to happen in them, but also product that they can collect and they can put on their shelf, and they know where it is and they know what they can do with it, and they can pose it and they can do whatever they want to do with it, and it's something safe for all of us. And but it is also beautiful works of art that you can just look at in the comfort of your own home. They're definitely works of art. I consider them works of art. I like when works of art are inexpensive and anybody can have them. That's what I like the most about toys, is that anybody can own a work of art. But yeah, definitely it's something to do when you're inside all the time. It's something to look at and it's something to play with, and it's definitely become, I think, more important than ever.
Yes. Also because it's when you collecting something, collecting toys, because it's a special world. Like, for example, when I write a novel, I go inside in another world with my character. It's like another world, but when you go in this other world, like you get your figure or your play set, you forget everything and you go inside your passion. And this is good in general for every time of our life, especially today, because today we need an escape to stay better. Also because collecting toys looks like to save the child inside us. And I think it's important to the people save the child inside of us, because if you forget the child inside of you, you forget the magic of the life, I think.
No, I agree. That's beautiful. Thank you.
And speaking of your career, what is until now the best experience of your career?
Oh gosh. Uh, you know, when we used to go to conventions, I would get to go backstage and I would get to meet different people and get to take pictures of them with the products. And it's always great to see them, with a toy of themselves, and appreciating it and then saying, "Oh man, this looks great. This came out great." I got to sit next to Stan Lee as he signed one of our packages of mini mates. It's been a lot of different great stuff has happened over the years. It's hard to break down into the best. Visiting a toy factory in China, I did that once when I was working for ToyFare magazine. That was my first and only time I've ever been to China, and it was very, very interesting to do. It wasn't for Diamond Select Toys; it was for another toy company. But I got to see how toys were made up close, and it was very interesting. That was probably one of the most interesting parts. Going to Tokyo Toy Show, visiting a toy fair in another country was very interesting. I've had a lot of great experiences, a lot of them.
Yes, it's cool. This community for toys, collecting toys, is cool because everyone are happy to share the passion with some other. And I like this philosophy. It's cool because I made interview with some other YouTuber, also other guys that work in this business, and behind their job there is a genuine passion for that. I love this. Because sometimes, for example, I work also in the music stuff in Italy, and sometimes the people in the music business become a little bit looks like a robot that create a song not because they want to create a song, because there is a contract with the discography, and you need to create a song, and maybe you don't like this song, but you need to do that, and you lost your passion. But in this business, it's different. I talked also with other guys like you, and they told me I feeling their passion still alive, and it's good to me. And speaking of because what is your first figure that you had when you was a kid?
Gosh, when I was a kid, I had a lot of G.I. Joe, and I had a lot of Transformers. And I don't know which came first, but I definitely had Optimus Prime, and I definitely had Lieutenant Falcon from G.I. Joe. And those were probably some of the first figures I had. If we're going way back, then I had a line called Husky Helpers. They were very cute construction workers that I believe Fisher-Price put out back when I was a kid, even before I was a kid, in the late 70s, early 80s. And they're awesome. I still have some today. I even bought some for my son because I think they're fantastic. They're very, very chunky, blocky, a little bit of articulation, but they would drive construction vehicles all over the place. And that was probably one of the first figures I had. But the first collectible figures I had were probably G.I. Joe and Transformers. Those were my original two toy lines. And I'm excited because now Diamond Select Toys is starting to do product with G.I. Joe and Transformers. We're doing mini mates for both, doing Transformers mini mates as well, and we're going to be doing the dioramas and statues. So I'm very excited about that.
Awesome. Also, I love your diorama stuff because they are not just a toy, but a piece of art, in my opinion. This statue is very cool.
They're definitely a piece of. They're definitely beautiful. They do amazing work, and the price is much better than that of a resin statue, which goes to me saying that I like it being affordable and accessible to everybody. So the fact that it makes it even more accessible to people by offering it at a lower price, that's what I like about them the most.
I like this philosophy to give a price accessible for everybody because it's good to give the opportunity to everyone that love this stuff.
Yes,
and
I agree.
You talks about your passion of Transformers. I'm curious to understand what your opinion about two things of the old cartoon, the first movie, 1986 of Transformers. I don't know if you remember. After the 2 seasons, they created this movie, 1986. And before of that, the previous series was family friendly, no one dies, nothing. But in that movie, because they need maybe to create new stuff in the toilet, they killed many characters, and especially Optimus Prime. What is your reaction on that time, and what do you think today about that?
It was. I think it was very brave for them to kill their main character off like that. I think it was a very extreme way to introduce new characters. I'm sure they could have introduced Hot Rod and Cup and RC, another way without killing off Optimus Prime and other characters. But it was very, it came from a, it came from that world of, there's a lot more higher stakes in a lot of Japanese storytelling, and I feel like they were at least partially influenced by that, where a lot of the characters came from. But it was definitely. I don't know if I was shocked when I was a kid. I don't remember seeing it and thinking, "Oh my gosh!" I definitely didn't see it in the theater. I probably saw it in parts on television the first time, but I'm not sure when that would have been. I wasn't sad. I wasn't sad. I remember that, but I think I knew that they were just. I was old enough to know that they were just characters. And I didn't even have I don't even know if I got any of the new characters from the new ones. All of my Transformers were from before the movie, I think. So that must have been the heyday of my collecting from 1984 to say 1986. That must have been where I was really the most into Transformers.
Yes, also in the movie, maybe the other things that I personally don't like so much is the music, because if you listen the music without to see the music was good, but in the show was a little bit, the music looks like to take over the movie, and sometimes they are maybe distract your concentration to the story to focus on this music too much. The volume, too much protagonist than using this movie, in my opinion. I don't know if you remember the music.
Oh yeah, of course. You've Got the Touch. I'm blanking on who sang it. There's a song by Weird Al Yankovic in there that the Junkions, when they meet the Junkions. Definitely, the music was very, very important in that movie. But it was fun. It was fun. I liked Weird Al Yankovic, so hearing a Weird Al Yankovic, that might have been my first exposure to Weird Al Yankovic. Hearing Dare to Be Stupid in that movie. But I eventually became a big Weird Al Yankovic fan. And then You've Got the Touch was, I forget the name of the artist who sang it, but he, that was a big song for him. And that's still a big popular song. It defined the movie. I mean, I think Transformers fans still love that song to this day.
Yes, and also like another thing of that movie is that the voice of Unicorn was by Orson Welles, and this was so cool. And also something that this demonstrates to us that there's no because sometimes, especially in Italy, they consider some art first class and other art second class because it's just a cartoon, it's just that. But these things with Orson Welles reveal it to everyone that art is art. Cartoon is a good art, like a movie of Orson Welles from Stanley Kubrick. Don't care for that, because if art is authentic, it's original, can possible a mash up. and to reveal that every type of art has its dignity, is a legacy, in my opinion. What do you think?
Oh, I think that's a very interesting thought that Orson Welles elevated the cartoons to a sense of real artwork. I think that's very interesting. I hadn't thought of it. I honestly had forgotten that Orson Welles did the voice. I knew Leonard Nimoy did the voice of Galvatron, and what was it? Judd Nelson, who did the voice of Hot Rod. He was a big actor in the U.S. back in that time, and but I forgot about Orson Welles. I mean, that's some people make jokes about how Orson Welles in his later years did things that were not as high, as elevated as things he'd done earlier in his life. There are lots of jokes about him doing commercials for wines and things like that. But he's still Orson Welles. He was still a great artist, and for them to get him to do that movie was definitely a great opportunity for them to get him to do that, and it definitely made a lot more people pay attention to that movie, I'm sure.
And what is your favorite director?
My favorite actor?
No, director.
Oh, director. Oh, my favorite director. Oh gosh. I do like Edgar Wright, who did Baby Driver and Shaun of the Dead, and oh god, he did Scott Pilgrim, which I'm a big fan of. But I also do like Wes Anderson. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to list. I love all his movies, but I'm trying to name one right now. Moonlight Kingdom, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs. He does great work. I'm a fan of his as well.
Very cool. Now, if you listen something, because I live near a church, if you say something behind, some sound, it is because there's a big church near my house, and I don't know why, but every day on 7:30 start for maybe 2 minutes this ding dong, or whatever. I hope that you can hear me also with this church. But I'm a big fan of comedy actor John Candy. Do you remember John Candy?
Yes.
I think no one can make until now an action figure of John Candy. Do you think it's possible in the future for Diamond Select Toys create something for John Candy?
I'd have to really think about what he's been in that would be such a great action figure. I mean, it's too bad he wasn't in Ghostbusters like he was supposed to be, because he'd have an action figure by now. He'd have 2 of them. Gosh, I mean, you got to think about what he was in. Uncle Buck, Nothing But Trouble. Gosh, Great Outdoors. I'm trying to think of movies where he wore like a costume. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I can't think of anything where he played like a character, you know?
In Spaceballs, use some custom.
Spaceballs will never get action figures, unfortunately. I wish Spaceballs would get action figures, but it never will. I think that was one of the main points of making it, that they were never going to be allowed to make any action figures for it. I think that was the deal. Well, Mel Brooks made with George Lucas, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. No action figures for Spaceballs. I would love Spaceballs action figures. That would be fantastic.
It would be cool for Diamond Select Toys to give this exclusive, because never one made before. And if you remember Spaceball movie, there is a moment with the character of Rick Moranis placed with some action figure of the movie. Created just for the movie. It was so cool that moment.
Yeah. Teasing us. They were teasing us with something that will never happen.
Yes. This was looks like a joke to us.
That's probably why they put it in there. That's why they put in Spaceballs, the flamethrower, Spaceballs, the lunchbox, all that stuff. Spaceballs, all stuff we could never have ever.
Yes, I believe that Mel Brooks was a genius for that movie, and also Frankenstein Jr., my 2 favorite movie of Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
Also, a figure for Frankenstein Jr. should be cool also.
Yes, didn't I think Sideshow maybe made them a long time ago? They made 12-inch figures of I think they made a figure of Gene Wilder and Marty Feldman and the monster. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm making that up. They did a lot of Universal Monster stuff, and I want to say they did Young Frankenstein too. But no, I'd love to do more Mel Brooks figures. Mel Brooks is great. Young Frankenstein. Gosh, there's so many great Mel Brooks movies that we could do some silent movie. Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Yes,
Robin
awesome.
Hood Men in Tights. I think a whole Mel Brooks line would be great.
Yes, should be cool. Also, speaking of cartoon, a series, maybe a cartoon accurate figure from Bravestar also should be cool, in my opinion.
Figures
Marshall
from
Braves. Marshall Bravestar.
Marshall Bravestar. Yes. No, I'm surprised they haven't updated that toy line yet. Robot cyborg horse and space cowboys. It was a great show. I'm surprised they didn't haven't redone that toy line yet. I never played with any of the toys, so I don't remember how good they were, but I was a big fan of Cops. Did you have Cops over there? Central Organization of Police Specialists.
I know, but I never had this figure.
That was a cartoon I liked a lot when I was a kid. It wasn't the best cartoon, but I liked it a lot. And the toys, I didn't even have any toys when I was a kid, but later on I discovered them, and they were they're one of my favorite toy lines of all time. They're very posable. They're posable like G.I. Joe's Action Force, but they were 6 inches tall. They had caps, explosive caps that you would set off the guns and stuff like that. It was a great toy line. I'm surprised Hasbro hasn't brought that back yet.
I have the collection of Marshall Bracer by Mattel, but they were big, like Big Jim and big stuff. But the problem in general, when I was a kid, I was a little bit frustrated when you have a toy line with no good likeness for the cartoon, maybe because they created before the toy line and later the cartoon. And because of that, to me, a dream come true could be Bracer cartoon accurate. Or if you remember another cartoon they love so much from Filmation, the Filmation Ghostbusters version. Do you remember that?
I remember it. I don't know if I ever really watched it, but and I'm only vaguely aware they made toys, but yeah, I don't know too much about it. I don't know too much about that show.
Because in Italy, this cartoon was popular, more popular than Thundercats, for example, or Silverhawks. Wow. It's something interesting because in some countries, some cartoons are more popular than the other country. And this line, this Filmation Ghostbusters, was produced by Filmation, Lusheimer, therefore from US. And US, also yesterday I talked for that with Sharpmus Prime, also even didn't know very well this cartoon because are a little bit obscure in US, I believe.
Yeah, it was definitely, I don't know if it was obscure, but it was definitely overshadowed by the other Ghostbusters. That's for sure. The other Ghostbusters was the real Ghostbusters popular in Italy?
Yes. But because this is a fun fact. In the year that I believe was 1985 or something like that, when Star, the Filmation Ghostbusters, in the same few months ago, stars also real Ghostbusters based a little bit on the movie. Therefore, also maybe you don't know very well Filmation Ghostbusters because start at the same time. It was an unlucky moment to have two Ghostbusters in the for the kids. Therefore, many people maybe choose the real Ghostbusters because you can find with a different likeness but the same character of the movie. I believe it was for that. Now I want to show you one of my stop motion, but choose you what do you want to see. A stop motion with WWF Hasbro figure, a stop motion with Food Fighters, or a stop motion with Master of the Universe?
Food Fighters.
Okay, I find it and show you. This is the first episode, and I know I want to understand what do you think about it. I search now. Because I need to find, because it's on my channel, but okay. Now I try to find where I find many other things, but not my video. Okay, maybe I go to my playlist. I believe it's better. In which country of US you live?
Which country? Which state?
States, yes. So sometimes my words are not perfect because I'm Italian. I learn. Imagine that I learn English with wrestling, just to. However, in which states do you live?
I'm in New York.
Okay. Okay, I find the video. I need only to remove the ads, but in a few seconds I give you the result. And this stop motion is I try to create a situation with something.
Importante, il gioco militare d'azioni online ha ricevuto il suo primo
To create there is some scene with the normal people and also stop motion. I make a mashup. It's like a short movie with like a very easy version of Roger Rabbit. You remember Roger Rabbit with the cartoon,
Yes.
with the real people? And I put my girlfriend inside this video, and I use the stop motion stuff just to move the Food Fighters character. This is the first episode of this story. In the beginning, there is the intro music, and later the first episode. The time is 3 minutes. Okay, I find it. I think you can see now. We start now. Good watching.
Barbie doll is a young girl of Motherly, Kentucky. She loves cooking food and stayed inside her kitchen. But there's something weird in her kitchen. Something that she doesn't know. She spends every day to create new delicious food. But something weird continues. And Barbie doll continues her happy life. But at the same time, in the kitchen, start a fight. A never-ending war between the kitchen commandos and the refrigerator rejects.
Na 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 na.
The breakfast becomes a new battle between the kitchen commandos and the refrigerator rejects. Later, the refrigerator rejects ambush the kitchen commandos, and the Bulgarian general become an hostage of the bad guys. Now, the Bulgarian general is a prisoner in the headquarters of the refrigerator rejects. But the kitchen commandos arrive and save their leader and start another battle. Yes, the kitchen commandos win the battle, but not the war.
Do you like it?
That was great. That was fantastic. You don't see a lot of love for food fighters nowadays.
Yes, I like so much. I showed this video also to Pixel Dan. He laughing so much because he also, like me, is a fan of the Foot Fighters. What about to recreate, to continue the line with the Foot Fighters?
Oh gosh, I think that would be fantastic. I'm trying to think what company does stuff like that. I don't know if it makes sense for Diamond Select Toys, but I can see somebody like a Super 7 or something going after something like that. But I don't know. It's definitely a cult favorite toy line. It would certainly be very cool to do. I'm curious who owns the rights to it right now. Probably whoever owns the cartoon. Was there a cartoon?
No, never was a cartoon.
Who created the original toy line?
Mattel, was by Mattel.
Mattel should relaunch it. They should definitely be making more Food Fighter toys.
Brian Finn told me that he tried to make something with the Food Fighters, but doesn't start. Maybe because Mattel don't care so much for that line. Was an obscure line, but was cool in my opinion. And speaking of J. Joe license, what is next for Diamond Select Toys?
Next, let's see. We're going to be showing off some upcoming products in early April as part of a 2021 showcase. It's our way to do like a toy fair for our retailers, with Toy Fair not happening this year. But we're also going to show it to collectors after that. After we show it to the retailers, we're going to show it to collectors. There is one new toy line we're going to be announcing there, as well as a couple of new products and other toy lines. But the new toy line should be very exciting for people. It's based on a digital TV series that has a lot of fans. So I can't tell you about it right now, but in early April we're going to be announcing a new toy line, and I'm just excited to keep going with what we've got, like the new Hasbro license. We've got Lord of the Rings. We're going to show off some more figures in that. Invader Zim has not come out yet. We're still going to be launching a new line of Invader Zim toys. I think we're gonna go back and do more for Black Hole because the Black Hole toys did very, very well for us. So we're gonna go back and do some more with that. Star Wars, our Gentle Giant line of Star Wars busts and statues will continue. We've got a lot of great stuff in the works. And we're going to make more Star Wars action figures for the Disney store as well. We're going to have some more exclusive mini-mates and action figures at the Walgreens stores in the U.S. Hopefully those are, relatively easy for people in Europe to get a hold of. But we do recognize there are challenges when it comes to American chains. But they're helping get toys made that wouldn't normally get made. So there's an upside to it.
There are many stuff still to come from Diamond Select Toys.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe if you want, in the future, we can do another interview to talk about this new stuff that are coming, because I think that something bigger is coming.
Yes, please, anytime.
I like it because I like the license you get now. I believe that we get other awesome license in the future. I understand. I have some feelings about that. I'm still a big fan, however, of some stuff you did also for told before. My favorite things of Diamond Select Toys are Lord of the Rings, because I'm a big fan of the movie, especially the original trilogy, and the likeness that you did in your figure also to this new one, Aragorn and the Orc, are perfect to me. A very, very cool figure.
Great, thank you very much. We're also going to do a large statue for Lord of the Rings, which will go with the toy line, but it's going to be a large resin statue.
Wow, very cool. And what about for Lord of the Rings to create some? I don't know if it's possible, because I know that maybe the price to get that is difficult. But to get some play set.
We've done a lot of buildable play sets, like we did the Ghostbusters rooftop and front of the building, and Gotham. We did a lot of buildable play sets. So a buildable play set is something possible. We haven't really sold any play sets on their own in a long time, not since we did the library for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's a very hard product to make because it's a very expensive product, and people have to invest a certain amount of money in it. Maybe it's more likely nowadays where people are used to investing money in things like HasLab and things like that. But it's very rare that we would do just a diorama on its own. But to do a buildable diorama, I think that's absolutely possible for something like Lord of the Rings. We did the buildable Sauron for the first 3 waves. I don't know that we're going to have anything buildable in Series 4, but maybe starting with Series 5, we could start doing something with a diorama. I don't know what that diorama would be from Lord of the Rings that would make sense at that scale. Maybe like a Hobbit hole or something like that. But that would definitely be very cool. I'd love to see some dioramas from Lord of the Rings.
So cool. When you need to go, give me some signs, okay? Because okay.
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm in no rush.
Okay, no problem. And speaking of, I'm going to back was your career when you was in the ToyFare magazine. What is what is your role also? You shooting also some pics for the magazine at that time.
Yes. I started out just doing editing, but eventually I was taking pictures in the back with we had a photographer who we would bring in to take pictures. But eventually we got our own camera and we started taking our own pictures. We would take pictures for big shots, which is the funny pictures we put in the price guide in the back of the magazine. Twisted ToyFare Theater, the Mego, formerly Twisted Mego Theater, but then Twisted ToyFare Theater, which we would that was a 6-page story in every issue. I would shoot that. And I would go to New York Toy Fair and I would take pictures of the toys there. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I learned on the job a lot of different skills, a lot about photography and lighting and lots of different stuff. I would shoot. We would do the visual price guides where it would be like a complete history of a line over the course of 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10 or 11 pages, and it was things like Mini-Mates and Star Wars. We would do like the best Star Wars figures. And I used to take pictures of those as well. At one point, the Living Dead Dolls the creators of Living Dead Dolls came to our warehouse and they brought all of their earliest Living Dead Doll figures. They brought all of them and we took pictures of all of them for a complete Living Dead Dolls guide. It was very, very cool.
Awesome. There is some question for the fan now. You want to answer some of these questions?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, the first one says, will you ever or 6-7 inch scale on Lord of the Ring?
I don't think we'd do 6-inch scale, but all of our Lord of the Rings figures are 7-inch scale, which is our select scale. They're not. We don't call them select figures because they're not in the select packaging. But everything we do every action figure we do now is 7-inch scale. So even the Muppets were done at a scale for 7-inch characters. A normal human would be 7 inches. And the Invader Zim figures, I think we made them about the right height to go along with 7-inch human characters. So 7 inches, yes. 6 inches, no. But
okay.
They're all different sizes. The Hobbits Frodo is probably about 3-4 inches tall. Gimli is about 4 or 5 inches tall. And then Legolas is 7 inches.
I like the good proportion also for the characters is awesome. I like that also this philosophy to give you also because Gimli is a little bit taller than Frodo. I like this way to represent the character. I now you mentioned another line of Diamond Slater is also much the Muppets. I'm a big fan of the Muppets. I like so much. And what is next for the Muppets?
I believe we're going to do an exclusive box set for this summer. I have not heard which one we're going to do, but we have a couple different ideas in that we're waiting to hear back on, I think. So there will be another exclusive set this year, but I don't know what it is yet. we still want to try to get out some of the figures that we haven't had made yet. We got out the chef, we got out the Dr. Teeth and Zoot, and now all that's left is Sam the Eagle and Rizzo the Rat. And I'd love to get them both out, but we're always looking to opportunities to get those figures out to people.
Awesome, also because there is a bunch of characters in this line in the Muppets. I like the Muppets concept, the puppets in general. I like also, I don't know if you remember, speaking of obscure line by Mattel in the 80s, the Boglins. You remember Boglins? These monsters, this creature.
The Boglins, yes, I remember the Boglins, yes.
I made also some show for the Boglins on this channel, 3 episodes. In the first one was an episode, the live reaction of the reboot of Ghostbusters. In the second one, an Halloween party with the Boglins, and the third one, a Christmas party with these guys. I like this Boglins. There's another series they create because when I was a child, a kid, I was a big fan of the monsters, of the ghosts, of this stuff, this weird stuff. And the Boglins was the prices was huge for a kids at that time. And I remember a shop with when it shows 3 Boglins in the window, and every time I watch these 3 creatures, and I purchase these guys when I start to collecting toys, and they are so fun. I also continues the line. This line should be cool. What do you think?
Oh, I think it would be fantastic. Yeah.
They are awesome. Another question for the fan. Yes, this one. You think the Lord of the Rings figures will fit with Masters Classics?
Are Masters Classics 6-inch scale across the board? Are they all 6-inch?
Masters Classics are 7 inches.
Then they should fit fine. I would think that they would fit together if Masters Classics are 7 inches tall. If they were 6 inches, then they'd be a little too tall. But if they're 7-inch, if Masters Classics are 7, then I think you'd be okay.
Yes, there was also a second part of the question, or with Mythic Legions also says that.
Mythic Legions I'm not as familiar with. Again, I'd have to ask what scale those are in. But if Mythic Legions fits with Masters Classics, then probably yes.
Maybe yes, because I don't know the size of the Mythic Legions. However, I had an interview with the Four Horsemen this Wednesday, therefore maybe I ask him for that, because I don't know what is the scale. I don't know, it will be some other question, I give other question for the fan. And what do you think in general today, what is because we remember in the 80s the toy line created, the toy business, the toy factory created something new stuff. It's not a coincidence if Masters, J. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars, and also in the movie, everything started in those years. And what do you think today? Basically, we have looks like a relaunch of some stuff of the past. For example, once again the same real Ghostbusters of the 80s. There's maybe a different philosophy. It's just to relaunch something that we had in the past with, like, for example, the Motu Origins, just an update with the vintage one. But I believe there's some difference because today it's different. Find something new that never was made before. What do you think about this situation?
I think you do still see some new toy line ideas coming through, but they're very few and far between. Even Mythic Legions, which is its own thing, owes a lot to other toy lines, and they're always making references to Masters of the Universe and things like that. But like, yeah, you know, we've tried some original stuff. We tried to we had a line of army and police characters that we did for Toys R Us, Minimates. It was called Max, Minimates Max, and they were firemen and they were policemen and they were army soldiers, and it did very well for a while. But then Toys R Us sadly went away. But you're right; it is very rare to find a new toy line, a new idea, and I think it's just I think it goes to what we were talking about before about toys being, a comfort and not just art, but also something that, reminds you of childhood. And that's what makes people want to get them, because they remind you of something. If it's a toy line that, is brand new and nothing you've ever seen before, then it's different. It's not the same thing that's going to make you want to go out and pick it up because it's something that you're familiar with. But no, it's too bad there aren't more innovative and new toy lines like Power Lords, for instance, which was so completely out there. Or gosh, what's another toy line that came out back then that there were a lot of toy lines that were created and they made comic books, then they never even came out with the toys. Like Animax was a comic book that I had. And it was about people who rode around in giant living cars, like they look like lions, half lion, half car, and I'm like, oh, this is great. It's based on the toy line, but the toy line never came out. It was just the comic book. I had to, look around to see what was going on. But they had so many ideas back then. They couldn't even make all of them into toy lines because there were just so many ideas. But now it's rare to see that. I mean, it's rare to see, a new idea, which is it's sad, but it's it's also, the way the industry is. There's just a lot of reliance on people's memories and good feelings about those old shows and old toy lines, and also being able to, not wanting to roll the dice or take a chance on something new, which is, you could say it's a negative, but it's also, especially in today's times, it's a risk. It's a big risk to come up with a toy line, even just to spend the money developing it, not even making it, just the money investing in the design work and the sculpting and all that. It's an investment, and it's not always one that's going to pay off. And I can see why a lot of people don't do it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's kind of sad.
It's interesting because you are an insider. You can give us a better point of view to understand the process of behind the scene to create a new toy line and some stuff like that, and maybe the problem also the risk to create something like that. It's interesting. Knows what happened behind the scene with an insider like you, because a collector wants only some stuff and maybe don't understand what is behind it. It looks like when I create a novel, when I write a novel, when I publish a novel, behind the scene there is some months to create the story and stuff like that, or to create a song. You start with the idea maybe on a piano, later go to the studio, the pre-production, the production, and the big problem is also like for the toys is promote your product, because the promotion is the part with a bigger cost in a process. Especially if you need to go to TV. I was in TV sometimes in Italy, but for example, in the music stuff is in Italy, it's so difficult publish an album and also receive a big promotion for that, because the producer want the stuff with no risk. Because maybe sometimes when I go to Sony or to Warner in Italy, they told me good song, good voice, everything is good, but it's difficult to find a target for a music that don't follow in a typical type of music. I believe it could be, it's possible to make a comparison also with the toy company, because if you created something that was before, you can find a target, a people that want that. But if you created something new, there's no match with other things. It's not easy to put these things on the marketing stuff, I believe.
Yeah, no, I mean, with music, you're right. With music, you want to have something that nobody's heard before. You want to have something that's brand new. I mean, there are musicians who will, they'll make music that sounds like music from an earlier time, and that's where the appeal is. Like, say, like The Weeknd. The Weeknd. His song
Yes.
"Blinding Lights." It's very in 1980s, and I think that's a lot of the appeal for it comes from. It's a very 1980s song, but with toys, you need to have if it doesn't remind you of anything, if it doesn't remind you of a TV show or a comic book or something like that, then it doesn't resonate as much. So, I mean, what I was talking about, I didn't even get into entertainment. I mean, to have that, Lord of the Rings, there's all these movies people can watch and books that people can read. Masters of the Universe, there's still the old cartoons, and I think they're still making comic books. But to make to release a toy line into a void where there isn't anything about that toy line, that's when the promotion really becomes most important. You need to let people know about it. And even when you let people know about the toys, they may not know anything about the characters. You need to let them know about the characters. When we did that Minimates Max toy line, we created animation, stop motion animation, actually. And we put some of it online on YouTube. And it got some views, but it didn't get enough views to support an entire toy line. Luckily, Toys R Us was a place where people could go and discover new toys and, pick up new toys for their kids and all things like that. So it was able to do well there. But we were always trying to make it more recognizable and more interesting to other people. It's hard. It's very hard.
This is the big problem, I believe. And speaking of the distribution in general, I want to know your opinion for that. There are some companies that choose for distribution only Walmart on Target, and this could be a problem, especially for an international collective like me, because it becomes difficult to find these toys. You need to go to eBay with a bigger, huge price. What do you think about that in general?
I always, say that, for every toy line that's an exclusive to somewhere, there's usually a reason, for it. Either it's a toy that wouldn't have existed otherwise, or it helps to get those toys into that store. There are reasons for doing exclusives that are good for the life of the toy line, even if it isn't necessarily good for international collectors. But there's also issues with licensing. Sometimes you may not have the rights to sell a toy line to another country. Not all of our licenses are different. Some of them are only for the U.S. Some of them are only for the U.S. and Europe and the Middle East. Some of them are worldwide, for everywhere. But we try to, if it's available everywhere, then we offer it through the catalog, previous catalog, and we have retailers around the world who can order it. But it really does depend on the license and where it's available. We recognize it is difficult for some international collectors to get some of our items. Even the Disney Store items aren't necessarily available in other Disney stores in other countries. Some of them are just in the U.S. and Canada. But we certainly hear that, and we have a collectors club in for Gentle Giant, where any convention exclusive that we make for Gentle Giant and any retailer exclusive that we make for Gentle Giant, Star Wars, we can sell through our Star Wars club. That's the catch. The catch is that it has to be available through the club as well. So if you're a member of the club, you can order a retail exclusive, a convention exclusive, the way you can normally order anything else. Okay.
And do you think it's possible create a complete toy guide for every figure that Diamond Select Toys has made?
You could. we haven't, but you definitely could. There's a couple sites out there that are good for a couple of our toy lines, like Minimates. There's a complete guide to Minimates on minimatedatabase.com, where you can see every single Minimate we've made. We've made thousands of them. We made thousands of Minimates. It's a lot of Minimates, but we also have a pretty complete list of the Marvel Select figures on Wikipedia. On the Marvel Select page, there's a pretty complete checklist, and that's a few hundred figures right there. I don't know if a guide exists to our. I think a guide exists to our Star Trek stuff on one of the Star Trek sites. There might be a list of our Buffy figures on one of the Buffy sites, but a complete list of everything we've ever made would be. The company's been around since 1999. We celebrated our 20th anniversary a couple of years ago, so it's it would be a lot of toys. It'd be a lot of toys to cover in one complete guide, definitely.
It should be cool if someone made a book with a complete guide for your toys. It should be interesting because no one made this before. Could be cool.
It's difficult because we have so many different licenses. We're not known for just one thing. For a while, we were just known for Star Trek, and for a while there, we were known a lot for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Battlestar Galactica. We made a lot of Battlestar Galactica, Stargate, but we move around a lot, and so to say I want a book of that when it's so many different things, it's a little of this, it's a little of that, it's a little of that. I can see people. I think we're a great company, but I don't know if we're such a great company to be in people's minds that they would say, I want a book of just Diamond Select products. I shouldn't have said that, but I'd love to own one myself, but I can see people. It's tough because we're not known for just one thing. We're known for a lot of different things, and it sort of spreads it out over a wider audience who maybe aren't as recognizing of everything that we do. They may know one little thing of what we do or one little thing, but they may not know all of it.
And speaking of the name of your company, who had the idea to put the diamond logo, the diamond name? Who was the creator of this idea?
I'm not sure. It spun out of our sister company, which is Diamond Comics, and Diamond Comics was formed, 35 years ago. That was when they started doing distribution and printing the catalog and stuff like that. So when it came time to come up with, when they formed the company, the toy company in the late 90s, I think they were looking to figure out, what, there are other diamond companies. There's the Diamond Galleries, which is an auction site, and there's a couple of different diamond companies, but to do Diamond Select, I'm not sure who came up with the name, but it definitely spun out of Diamond Comics, which was our sister company who founded us. Okay.
Do you think it's possible for one of your license create in the future vehicles?
We've done some electronic vehicles that were smaller scale, like 1/15th scale, about the size of a G.I. Joe. Or a reaction figure, and we did the DeLorean from Back to the Future. We did Knight Rider. We did the Munsters coach, and then we did all of our electronic Star Trek ships. We've done a lot of those as well. Vehicles for our figure lines is trickier because it is so much. The tooling, the creating of the molds, you have to create these gigantic molds to make these vehicles, especially one that's going to fit a 7-inch figure in it. We did vehicles for, we do a lot of vehicles for Mini-Mates. We did the Aliens vehicles. We did Knight Rider again. We did Munsters. We never did a Ghostbusters vehicle, but for that Max line that I told you about, we did jets. We did jets for the Max line. We did something else. What did we do? We did Jeeps for Halo. Mini-Mates are a lot easier to do vehicles for if the license allows it. Sometimes the license doesn't always allow us to make vehicles. But for a 2-inch figure, it's easier to make a vehicle than it is for a 7-inch figure.
Okay, there is a line of a show or cartoon or a movie in general that you never made now or before, but there is maybe a dream project that you want maybe see in the future?
Gosh. I don't know. That's a tricky one. Nobody's ever made toys for Buckaroo Banzai. I would love to get toys for Buckaroo Banzai. It's a fun movie. Oh, cool. It's got some funny costumes in it. And I don't know. I don't think it's a cult classic, but I don't know if it's popular enough to warrant a toy line. But it would be great if it did.
Okay. What about the time that you have now? If you need to go, give me some... You need to go now.
I should probably go and do some work. They're probably wondering where I am.
Okay. Okay, maybe I give you my final question.
Sure.
Okay, my final question is, what is the first figure that you ever had in your life?
First figure I ever had?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. It would probably be, gosh, I don't know who my first G.I. Joe was. It was probably, I don't know. I didn't have Cobra Commander. I didn't have Duke. I didn't have Snake Eyes. I don't even know who my first G.I. Joe was. Probably the guy with the parachute. No, was it Shipwreck? I don't know if I had Shipwreck. I can't remember who my first G.I. Joe was, but it was definitely a G.I. Joe action figure. That was the first one I ever had. And then when I got out of toys for a long time in high school, and I got back into them in college, and in college I would go to a store called KB Toys, which was a chain in America. And they would have all their toys marked down. They would sell toys at a discount for like 3 for $10. And I would buy all sorts of toys there. I'd buy Marvel action figures. I would buy Star Wars toys, inexpensive Star Wars toys. And I got a 12-inch. One of the first figures I got was a 12-inch Darth Vader. And that was one of the first toys I bought when I came back to collecting toys. But that was when I was in my late teens.
Okay, there is just ask another question for a fan, the last one.
Sure.
Will there be any release or future release for the real Ghostbuster figures?
I am not aware of a potential re-release of Real Ghostbusters. As far as I know, there is no current plan to re-release Real Ghostbusters. Maybe in the future, maybe someday there will be, but right now there are no plans.
But never say never.
Never say never. That's what the president always says. Never say never.
It's time to back to the piano for the final salute. Thanks for watching, my friends. Thanks to enjoy the stream with the awesome Zack Oat from Diamond Selectors, my friends. And don't forget to go to the website of Diamond Selectors. And thank you so much, Zack, to join this show. And thank you so much to everyone. And see you soon, my friends, because Zack will be back in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Goodbye, my friends. Thank you, guys.